We are one, came to fight us. Let them come and try us. We gon' stand together. Put our hands together. We are one, came to fight us.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and thank you for tuning in. Yes, I'm in the exact same spot. I'm in the exact same outfit. That's because I filmed multiple videos on the same day because just the time allowed. So no, you're not watching a rerun of another video. This is a brand new video. So anyway, hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for tuning in. If you're new to my channel, my name is Mumsie, and I hope that you will subscribe by the end of this video and join this amazing family, and just look forward to new videos coming along. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you for coming back. So in today's video, I'm going to be a little bit more raw and unfiltered and just open up a bit more about myself, and I'm going to talk about my journey of just with my disability, and just the truth about my disability. I talked a little bit about it in a previous video from a couple of years back. I will link it down below and also in the cards up here, and yeah, you can just go and check out that video after this if you want a more in-depth just a bit more information about my disability. For those who don't know, I have a brittle bone condition called osteogenesis imperfecta. I was born with it but diagnosed in 2004, and before 2005 I was able to walk, and in 2005 I sustained an injury, and that is how the wheelchair came about. And since then I have been in a wheelchair since 2005. So that is just a quick rundown of how the wheelchair came about. So growing up, I never felt in any way different from other people. I felt like I was just okay. I never experienced any kind of discrimination or stigmatization. I was never stigmatized. I was never discriminated against. I think it was a blessing. You know, God had a plan for me. I'm very grateful. And yeah, it was just, I had a good childhood. I did not feel any kind of, I never really felt bad about my disability. It is only after, I think when I was in my late teens, that I started to become a bit more self-conscious, and I started to notice my differences. I started to kind of feel, I could see that I was different, and I could feel that I was different, but it didn't really mess with my confidence too much. And I think a lot of that, me feeling that way, was because of the people that I was surrounded by. The people that I was with, my family, my friends, they just never made me feel like I am any different from them. So that was very helpful. I think that's something that is very important in any person with a disability needs that kind of support system around them. People who will make them feel as normal as possible, because at the end of the day, yes, we are normal. We just have a different normal to the able-bodied person. You know, we just have a few more limitations than your regular schmegular human being, right? Not that we're not regular schmegular, but I think you guys understand what I mean. So yeah, that was very helpful for me growing up, and my confidence was just out of the roof. I was super confident. I knew that I was special. I knew that I was talented. I knew that I could do anything and everything that I wanted to do. And again, I give so much credit to the people around me, because none of them made me feel like I was any less of a human being. And they pushed me literally, and you know, otherwise, like, they made me feel like, yes, I am fully able, and that was very helpful. So, okay, to go back to our story, in my late teens, I started to notice my differences, and I started to go through phases where I would feel like, I wish that I wasn't in this wheelchair because I would have been able to do A, B, and C. I had I had the toughest experience with this when I was in Canada because I was by myself. That was the first time I'd ever been by myself, away from family, away from what I knew, just alone. Literally, I was alone. And I felt like I was thrown into the deep end of the pool without floaters, without floaties. Is it floaters? Floaties? Whatever. And it was very tough for me. That is when I was forced to come to that realization. Yes, girl. You have a disability. There are certain things that you cannot do for yourself, by yourself, and you're going to have to learn to find ways around this on your own. It was the most difficult time of my life. It gets me super emotional all the time because that is when I was exposed to depression. That is when my emotional and mental state started to just go downhill. When I was in Montreal, it was so difficult because I came from, my Canada journey started in Ottawa. And Ottawa is very, it's quite accessible. Like, I love Ottawa and I would love to go back there. Please God. I would love to go back there because I learned to be independent in Ottawa. I could get on a bus on my own, and just go to the mall by myself if I wanted to. I could go anywhere. It was very accessible, and that was the first time that I'd ever experienced a kind of freedom and independence. It was scary, yes, but I loved it, and I grew up. I grew up while I was in Ottawa, and I got a taste of freedom and independence, something that I had never experienced in my 17 years of life, because I had always been dependent on my family and my friends and the people around me to help me. So me being there and me having to fend for myself, living on my own, even though yes, I had a roommate at some point, but in my first year being there, I was living on my own. I was living on res. I was in res, I meant to say. And that was my first time. That was my first time being alone and just, experiencing life alone, learning to be an independent woman. And then 2014, after I had graduated from Ottawa, from Algonquin College, I got my diploma, and then I applied to go to Montreal. Well, actually, I applied to Montreal. I applied to Concordia University in Montreal, and I also applied to the University of Ottawa, and I was accepted at both universities. But because I knew Ottawa and I already had friends there, I was like, great, yes, I'm gonna go to the University of Ottawa. But then stuff happened because sometimes life can be very unpredictable. Stuff happened, and unfortunately I couldn't go to the University of Ottawa, so I was left with having to go to Concordia University. I was crushed. I was extremely crushed, but yeah, that was that. So first of all, going to Montreal, I was not even excited to begin with. I did not want to go there because I was thinking, guys, now I have to learn a new place again. I have to learn. I just wasn't in the mood to learn a new place and be alone again and be away from my friends. I was just over it. So I was just like, hey, you know what, it's fine, it's an experience, and that's that. So getting to Montreal, I got there and things started to change. Things started to change. I was not comfortable there at all. It was not as free and accessible as Ottawa was. And I did not like it. I did not like it. Whenever somebody asks me about that, I'm always just like, yeah, it was an experience, because I experienced a lot. And that is when my depression got worse. And because of that, 2 years into my degree, 2 years of struggling, of isolation and constant crying and just being like, I hate this. I wish I wasn't in a wheelchair. I wish I didn't have this disability. If only I was like every other person, I wouldn't have to deal with all of this nonsense. That is the time when I started to just hate who I was, and I hated the situation that I was in, to be quite honest and frank with you guys. And I was just in a very dark place. I think, I cried so, like, there was so many nights that I cried myself to sleep, because I was like, I can't do this. This is too much. I don't have friends. I feel isolated. I feel like I just don't fit in. I just couldn't. Nothing was working for me at that time. It was so bad. It was so bad. I always had, I remember there was a time when I had a health scare, and I was actually having an anxiety attack. I was by myself. I was forced to just like call. I had to get help. I had to get an ambulance, and it took me to the hospital. I spent a night in the hospital by myself. I was so lonely. Again, I felt really, really lonely. I didn't have a manual wheelchair at that time, so I was using a power wheelchair. That wheelchair couldn't get into the ambulance. I had to leave it and use the wheelchair at the hospital. Guys, having to figure out how I'm gonna get home, like back to my res room. How was I gonna do that? Like all of that, having to figure all those things out, it drained me. Like I felt so alone. And gonna guys, that was the worst experience of my life. And again, it made me feel like, yo, this is just too much. If only, right? So anyway, to cut that long story short, 2 years into my degree, it was a 4-year degree, I was like, no, you know what, mom and dad, I'm coming home. And they understood, and I transferred to the University of Botswana, and that is where I completed my degree. So that is the only time that I've ever experienced feeling like, yo, my disability is just, it's a burden. I felt so, I felt like I wished I could be somebody else. I don't want to lie, I wished, and I was just like, God, why? My relationship with God was so shaky at the time. But fast forward to after I came back, I got connected to my local church, and I started to, deal with the fact that, okay, you know what, now I'm dealing with depression and anxiety from this experience that I had, and I started on my journey to accepting my disability. I've never been the type of person that's been like, I want to, I want to be, I've never had friends with disabilities. It is only after I came back from Canada that I was exposed to, other people with disabilities. When I got to the University of Botswana, I signed up with the disability support services with their office so that they could assist me during my journey at the university. They were amazing, and that was great. I've never actually done that, because again, growing up, I've always just felt normal. I've always just felt like I don't need to be classified. I don't want to be classified as somebody with a disability. I don't want that. I'm just a somebody, right? So I started to open my eyes now to, this idea of, okay, I have a disability, but what is this? What is this? And I met a lot of people that had disabilities, and it's so weird because me having a disability, I looked at these people like they had the disabilities, and I just felt like a sharp, so I've always had an able-bodied person's mind, if I could put it that way. So anyway, let me fast forward. I think one of the life-changing, well, there've been two life-changing experiences that happened, one in 2019 and the other at the beginning of this year. 2019, I was invited by my friend Rowena to speak at her book launch. She launched a book last year. She wrote about her life. The book is A Walk to Remember. It's called A Walk to Remember. Disability is not an inability. Disability is not inability. So yeah, I actually vlogged on that day, so there is a vlog on my channel. You guys can go and check it out. And that was the first time that I was given an opportunity to be surrounded by people like me. And I was like, wow, okay, so this friend of mine, this new friend of mine, she's written a book, she has a disability of her own, and she's been through all of these things, and you read more about her journey in her book. I definitely recommend that you guys get the book. I will leave some of her information and information on how you can get that book somewhere on, I'll put it somewhere on the screen and also in the description box so that you can go and get it, because it's a really amazing book. And she shares a lot about her journey. She shares a lot about her life and gives so much encouragement. And that was the first time at that book launch, because she invited other people with disabilities. And these people, they spoke and they shared their stories. There was some young lady as well, Zoe, who has a business of her own. She's an entrepreneur, she's a mom. And I was just like, wow, I was amazed that these people are making all these moves, and I was so intrigued. There were people there, we were there with different disabilities, and it was so cool to see. I was so enlightened, I don't want to lie. So from that day on, I was like, okay, let me start to, and I was just starting to just love exploring more about my disability. And then the life-changing moment for me, another life-changing moment at the beginning of this year in February, I again was asked to come and speak at another book launch by another friend of mine, Nosiphiwo, who wrote a book about her life as well. And she also shared her experiences. And what was crazy about this particular experience was that this now was somebody who I could relate more with her, because she also was very similar. Again, I will leave information on how you can get a hold of her book. I will leave it in the description box and also on the screen somewhere, so that you can also go and grab that book for yourself as well. And that was in South Africa. That was my first international gig, despite my disability, despite the fact that I was using a wheelchair. And it was so enlightening to be in a room filled with women of so much power, despite the fact that they were in wheelchairs. They were using wheelchairs just like me. Women just like me who are doing amazing things. And that just stirred something in me. And that is when things completely changed. From that day on, I've been on this journey of learning more about my disability and accepting my disability. Because I grew up not feeling like I was different in any way, when I was forced to step into a situation where I had to actually experience a challenge because of my disability, that's when I finally realized, okay, there is something different about you, but it doesn't make you any less of a human being. These different experiences and these 2 occasions opened my eyes to the fact that regardless of my disability, I'm still so able. Regardless of the fact that my normal is different from your normal as an able-bodied person, I'm still just as able. I still have other abilities, and I'm gonna tap into those abilities. And I think another thing that has helped me in my journey, with dealing and accepting my disability, it has been my faith. God has always opened doors for me that seemed like they were just completely shut. God has always had my back. From the time I was still in, he knew me before I was even born. He knew me before I was even a thought on my parents' minds. He knew me before anything, and he's always had a plan for me. And I'm 25 now. I still have so much that I want to do, so much that I want to achieve, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for my disability, because I have so many things. There's so many things that I have been shielded from. I don't want to lie. There's so many things that my disability and being in a wheelchair has shielded me from. Na ke rata dilo, guys. I love to experiment. I don't want to lie. And I love to have fun. And I don't know where I would be if it were not for this wheelchair. I look here because it's right here. This wheelchair has saved me from losing myself. Because had I been able to do certain things and be able to walk and, with no care in this world, I have no idea where I would have been. My disability has grounded me. My disability has taught me the importance of so many other things. And it has made me see just how good God is. And where God can use anything, can use anybody, can use any situation to just show how much bigger he is. He's way bigger than this disability. I am grateful for the experience that I had in Montreal, because it showed me that there are challenges. It exposed me and forced me to actually acknowledge the fact that, Miguel, you have a disability. You do. And it has helped me in my journey to accepting. I'm still on that journey. I realized it later in my life that I still have quite a way to go for me to actually accept my disability. But I think I'm getting there. I really am getting there. And I'm excited to share so much more about as I'm on this journey. So yes, I just thought that I should share that with you guys. If you are watching this and you are a person with a disability, I want you to know that you are amazing. You've got so many abilities, and you need to tap into those. You need to be grateful for the fact that, you know what, I have breath in my lungs. I still have a chance. The fact that I woke up this morning means that God is not done with me. Your disability does not define you, but it gives you it gives you that strength. It gives you, your disability is strength. And I pray that, our society will realize that we are powerhouses. We are not experiments. We are not unable. I do not like that. I hate it when people say that we are disabled, because when something is disabled, it means that it doesn't work. It has no ability. It doesn't function. And we do function. We do function. So I'm excited for us to get opportunities just like any other person, to show those skills that we have, and that we too will tap into that and not focus so much on our disabilities, but we will focus more on our abilities. That we too will learn to love and accept ourselves and appreciate ourselves first, and know our worth. Guys, I could go on and on about this, but I will just end this video here. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up to just let me know. Comment down below if you have a disability, or you know somebody that has a disability, if this has enlightened you a little bit. Let's just have that conversation in the comment section below. Feel free to reach out to me if you just want to, have a little chat. And yeah, share this video with somebody who might need to hear it. Just let people know that, the ItsMumsie channel is where it's at. And also subscribe if you haven't already, and join this amazing family, this amazing community, and let's just grow this community and learn from one another. I love you guys so much. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.